So now we're going to cover diving. We've narrowed the gold and the silver down to a single square, and we've got 2 players in each square. So the first thing we're going to do is dive for gold. So we're going to press 13, air. When the air tanks fill, that means that you're going to have a successful dive. Or at least there's money in that quadrant. Now, each square, if you can see, there's a red border around 9 smaller squares. They are randomized between a depth of 1 to 7. So what you do is you've got 9 different squares that mirror the image on the board. They go 1 to 7. After I've reverse engineered this for the future, I've noticed that anywhere from 2 to 5 squares can contain treasure. And ideally, you want to dive and come up one at a time, because that means you're guaranteed a minimum of $100,000 every dive. If you recovered 5 locations and they each had $50,000, you would only get $250,000. So the white player is going to go right now, and they're going to go in square 3. That was a depth of 2, and the little chime you heard meant that there was treasure. Now we're going to do 6. He dove down 2 more levels, which is a depth of 4. Now we go down. So that put us at a depth of 7. Now we're going to press up and hope that we can get out before we run out of air. So we didn't. That sound you heard was the player's death. But all their money is left in square 6. Now where you're diving is public knowledge, so you can't hide it with your hand. If anybody asks what squares you've covered, you need to tell them. So the next player, the red player, is filling up their air tanks. They're going to dive down in number 9, where all the treasure is from the white player dying. And then they hit up. When we get to the top, it's going to show us the value. The bottom is 100,000, and then they increment by 50,000. So the player gets 4 treasure chests. Each one represents $50,000, because the value was $200,000. Now, unfortunately, these chests can be pirated, but the red player is very close to a port. So all they have to do is roll a 3. An 11, they roll to go to port. They change those chests in for cash. And the first player to win to get to $1 million wins the game. Now, traditionally, gold is supposed to contain more money than silver, but that gold was only $200,000, which is not that much money. Let's say the player's here at the silver. The green player recovered $150,000, and the yellow player recovered $200,000. You can pirate another player, which means you roll, and the high roller takes all the money. In this case, the green player would take all the chests, and then they get the chance to try and roll to port. There you go. They make it all the way to port. They recover $100,000, $200,000, $350,000, which is a big chunk of the million.